YouTube, welcome back to another one from Forsland's Fun Factory. Today we're going to be talking about tools, and we'll review a very specific one. We're going to be doing just a little bit of work. We have some projects, maybe a little bit of a crunch through on a box of stuff that I got for free. Now, when we're talking about tools, of course, you want to have quality ones around, like Milwaukee, or, I don't know, decent floor pumps. But you really want to make sure that what you're buying is worthwhile. Granted, you can get by with some of the cheap stuff, but let's look at something that was super cheap and really not worth it. So, here we have a chain breaker tool, straight from the Amazons or whatever they came off of. This I used to break a couple chains, and then it just simply stopped working properly. Now, if you look closely, you can see that the turn pin is bent. It bent multiple times. But then we also have this part where it just stripped out entirely. So try to take a peek at that. If you're looking at it and you're thinking, what the heck, that doesn't look like there's threads there, it's because they're not. They are flattened out completely. So yeah, it gave me a couple chain breaks, but this just simply is not worth even purchasing in any shape or form, just because these pop off all the time, and this just stripped out entirely. So yeah, did it work once or twice? Sure. Is it worth time? No, it's not. Just crap. So, scrap bucket. But here we have Park Tools, kind of cheapo, I think it is anyways. Chain Tool 5, CT5 mini chain tool. This I've used just once so far, and what an absolute dream compared to that cheap Amazon one. So, does it take a little bit more money to buy decent stuff the first time around? Heck yeah, it sure does. But it is worth the time. Now, they sell chain tools that are all the way up to like $40 or something like that. Now, this is not that expensive. It will get the job done. It's smooth, it's solid. Nothing, as far as I know, is going to break, so get one of those. Again, you can have cheap tools, just some are going to last longer than others. Some more Park tool in here. I got to clean the bench in the garage, but also bring all my bike tools in the house after I get a bench downstairs. So Park tool, just to use this yesterday. Bulletproof, won't strip, won't break, will always work. Park tool. Don't always need Park tool, those are just some old rusty channel locks. Good stuff. So here we're working on a little kid's bike. We got some tools just hanging off of it here. But this derailleur has bent and got shoved into the spokes. And the chain's also behind the cassette, you can see. But in order to fix this up, of course, we need to bend this derailleur hanger back to where it needs to be. And I did not have a derailleur hanger alignment tool for many years. And now I got lucky enough to actually find one in a box of stuff that I picked up for free. So this is a Derailleur rear dropout centering and gear hanger alignment tool. It's got all the stuff you need to line up the rear end of a bike. Now what we're going to look for is this guy right here, I believe. So this is going to strap in to the frame. These even look like it's been used, for crying out loud. But we're going to bolt this in, and we're going to use this to pull on the hanger, and hopefully align it a little bit too. So, and what we can see is there's plenty of other stuff here that we're going to have to mess around with. We'll get to that in a second. So we're out in the garage, and this is actually a box of stuff that I picked up for free. The other day I used the spoke wrench. It was in one of these little trays. Probably don't need to show addresses of stuff that was delivered to people, but there's some bottle cages, some pedals, an old Shimano parts catalog. Check that out. Very cool. Very cool. So awesome. Real derailleur. I did have two other bottle cages this color, but gave them to a friend along with some of the brake line. He was saying that these are pretty nice. These are, he said Derailleurs, but it doesn't say Derailleurs on them, so I don't know if that's a thing or not. I don't know. I got some campy pedals along with that derailleur. Another service handbook. A couple tubes, some patch kits. And then this was kind of cool. Some power cranks. I've never used anything like this. I read up on them. These will probably just be sold, but if you think anything about these, let me know what you think, if these are worth keeping or if they're worth selling. Pretty awesome. But we also got that alignment tool, and we're going to be using that. So pretty awesome to find some cool parts. And these were all just free, of course, too. Some seat posts and whatnot. Let's get back to it. So here we have this bike. We're gonna throw on this derailleur hanger tool, and of course right now we don't really need to use any adjustment tools, because I know for a fact that this is way out of alignment. So we're just gonna strap this on as best we can and give it light little pulls, trying not to break it. Oh, it's aluminum. It's aluminum. That's frightening, to say the least. But I'm looking at the distance from this peg back here. I still haven't even slipped off the wrapper, but that's already looking much more in line. Now, this probably isn't used for 20-inch mountain bikes, but I will tell you, holy cow, trying to straighten that with a crescent wrench on top of it would have been, you know, slipping in and out of this area. Good tools are worth their weight in gold. Make sure you get some. So I've been having another issue with the Madone, where I wasn't able to get into the highest gear or the lowest gear for some reason. So I've got it taken apart, and I messed around with this for like hours, a couple days, a couple weeks ago now, after a couple hard rides where I was riding with fast groups and not being able to shift into the fastest gear, or the lowest gear while you're climbing is just a little rough. So after dilly-dallying with it forever, super annoying to deal with, I thought maybe bent derailleur hanger or something, and was always messing around back here trying to figure stuff out. For a while there I thought the film was fraying and holding it up, and then I finally put together that it could be elsewhere, and I pulled back the hood, and wouldn't you know, something's going on in there. So now I'm trying to figure out a way to remove this, but I can't get the cable to detract anymore from in there. So I don't know what I'm gonna have to do to make this happen. It's gonna take some work, but I'll give you an update in a little bit. So I found out that the rubber hood being flipped over was keeping the trigger from allowing it to flow the proper way. But I cut out a bunch of the cable and left a bunch of it too, because I have to run the new cable through this lever all the way through here, down through the tube, and it'll end up going on the right hand side there and out here. So, but look at the carnage that was back there. Impressive. I had to remove a little cover off the bottom here to get in there. But I'm trying to figure out what I'm gonna do to run the new cable through here. I think I need to cut and clean this up a little bit more again. But I might try to super glue the new cable to this one to get it to go through the frame and all those hoses or brake shift cables. So, but that would explain why I was not being able to shift. Into the scrap pile, along with that crappy tool. So we're fishing the new cable through the lever here, and got to be careful to try to get this through properly, but it's got to come through this window and then also out through the other side of the lever, and we got that happening. So, and then you weasel it through. It is over on the other side, but it did pop through and came back out now. So, takes some fishing through things to make it happen, but it is popping out the back side now. And get it to fit in the slot that it needs to go into, and we're good. It's in the little tooth there. So what we're doing here is we're gonna actually take the old cable and butt them up and try to super glue it a little bit. Hopefully that holds just long enough to get it through the parts of the frame that, you know, maybe don't have good cable guides. I'm sure this has got good cable guides, but I've done that where you struggle getting it through before, so we're gonna put just a little bit of cheap super glue on here and hope for the best. So it takes a little while to dry. Maybe it won't. Oh geez, it's not going well. Gotta sit and hold it apparently for forever. Yep. Out here in the cool weather, and it's taking forever to dry. Well, that's a bunk idea.
Decision. You jagaloons! You're failures! Failures!
So what a nightmare this is. I took off this water bottle cage and this cover, and that just loosened up the front derailleur, so all the tension was on that cover. Shifting it through here, it went down through the lines and then just bottled up in the frame. And then I finally got it routed, and I used this little pick tool to hook it out from inside the frame to get it to go where it needs to go. And then I got it to push up into here, which is fine, little damage. And it actually popped out right where I needed it to, so crank had to come off. This cover didn't need to come off, but I don't really know if it's run where it needs to be in there. I'm unsure, but I can test the shifter now, and we'll see if it works. Seems to be working. So we had a rough time swapping out a cable, which is kind of weird, but you know, when you put it in and it flops out of the wheel and gets jammed behind the wheel on the other side with the catch for the end way over here, it got stuck behind the wheel up into the trigger, and I had to like wiggle and shake and use pliers to push this back out towards this side. So be very, very cautious when you're putting in cables that it's sitting in its right spot, and probably even a dab of glue wouldn't hurt it, just to make sure it stays in there so you don't have to spend time getting it unjammed. You can see it's even like scratched up because I was using a poke tool to try to push it back out. But what an annoying thing to have happen, like an hour of wasted time. So it is what it is. Brand new cable going in the scrap. Luckily I had a backup, so alright, so we've been cleaning a little bit here. We got our crank on, we got all the derailleurs and shifters working, the rear wheel's got to go on. I got to do some more cleaning, but that brings us to where we're going to review this tool. I got the crank mounted, but it's not tensioned or torqued or anything, and we're going to take a moment to tension down this crank, or torque down the crank. Now, when you're doing so, make sure that you look up the correct specs for your specific crank. Mine actually still has the tag on the crank, so we're going to use that feature. I don't know, there's my end play tool. So I have one of these. It's a Park Tool BBT10, but I also have another one of these little fittings on a cassette or a bottom bracket tool. But so here we have this, and you want to just put enough tension on there that she still spins nice and loose. And again, it's a little dirty, but do what you can. And I'm gonna grab that torque wrench too, so give me just a moment while I go do so. Alright, so here's the torque wrench. It comes in this nice package. Outside of that, you have the torque wrench, you have a couple little extensions in the package, and then of course you have their calibration materials in the paperwork there, so kind of cool. Now they sent this out to me free of charge just to test out and review on my channel, and we're going to use this to tension down my crank. So kind of excited to use this Vanpro torque wrench, which, you know, I've had used torque wrenches before and big nice ones on cars, but I've never had a tiny one for bike related stuff. So we're gonna find some attachments and get this thing torqued down. So give me just a moment. We have our crank. Here it says each of the end bolts should be torqued equally, tightened even and equally tightened to 12 to 14 Newton meters by a torque wrench. So I just did this in the past by just tensioning it down. Looks like I'm getting a little heel strike on the crank. Oh well, it's fine. Got a Stages power meter on here, but I don't actually remember if I have any Allen tools that will attach to the torque wrench. So what I'm going to use in place of that is a T30, which fits in here nice and snug. And we got to try to clock it so I don't hit the frame with the torque wrench too, but fits in there nice and snug. Now setting this, we have inch pounds, and then on the back side we have Newton meters, and again our crank says 12 to 14, so we had to get up to 12 to 14 Newton meters. So I'm going to put you back on the tripod. We have our torque wrench, we have our stuff, we have our crank we're trying to torque, and we have to roll over to, looks like 11.3, but we're going to get all the way up to that. Now this goes, you know, low all the way up to 27.1 Newton meters. We're going to try to, where's the 0? Now that must be 13? No. Where's this setting? That must be 11.3, so, and you can kind of put some tension on it and you can make it kind of click. So these do need to be pretty snug, and we're gonna just do our best with it. So and just like that, she clicks. We'll give it a double tap. Nice little smooth setting there. And this one, of course, we need to go in a bunch now. Try not to hit the frame. So there we have it. And yeah, nice and smooth. Nice Vanpro 20 to 240 inch-pounds. Wish they had that on the back here too, so we're going to loosen it back up and store it back away for when I need it next. I like to back it all the way off and then go to 0. Inch-pounds. And go to 0 on the Newton meter side. 2, 4. Pretty awesome little tool. Ugh. Might be time for some new bar tape. Well, there you have it. We used our torque wrench. I just got to put pedals and water bottles on this, and then I'm going to go for a ride. If you like content like this, reviewing tools and looking at cool stuff, all bike related, but I'll eventually get to some other stuff. If you like that content, feel free to like, share, subscribe, all the doodads and the click-ins, and have a good day. Get out there and ride. See ya. Thanks for watching. The little tiny little bit of cable I left hanging out was hitting into the spokes and threw me completely off. Fixed now.